So you may be wondering, why a fridge? Why go through all this expense? This fridge was $550. What's wrong with the cooler? I've been using the cooler for 2 years. I used a Coleman, inexpensive Coleman $20 cooler, which was very cost effective. I put some reflexant around it. You can see it in my other videos. That spiked the performance, especially in sunlight. It helped reflect off the heat. So why go this route? Cost me $130 more. I mean $530 more. What's up with that? So I crunch numbers, and I buy my ice. My freezer, I just have a freezer over the refrigerator type setup, a typical refrigerator. I don't have any room to buy to make ice, so I buy my ice. 8 pounds is $4 where I live in northern New Jersey, 24 miles outside of New York City. Maybe it's cheaper elsewhere. So before a trip, I would buy a bag, 8-pound bag of ice, 24 hours before, 48 hours, and put it in the cooler to pre-chill it. I pre-chill my food, and then when I was ready to leave, that ice was melted. I would put in 2 more bags, another 16 pounds of ice. This is for a 2-day to 4-day trip, and that would get me through. Maybe 3 days if it was really hot. So that's $12, $13 total with tax and all that per trip. And I do a lot of weekend trips. I plan on doing a lot more. So I calculated my cost for 52 nights out. Included in there are a couple of 10-day trips. And I came up with $139 a year. And my calculation showed that this refrigerator would pay for itself in 4 years. Sooner, if I'm not working, it would pay for itself much sooner. So why not? I thought I would go for it. I thought I would build a system that was sustainable off-grid. And actually, this is my first trip, and I'm enjoying not having ice. I mean, the ice gets all over everything, the water, all that. You know, you're used to that. I'm used to it, and it worked just fine. And I'm not thumbing my nose at it. I think it's a good thing, and I'm not done with ice. If I go on a really long trip, this particular refrigerator can be a freezer. I could load it up with perishables and freeze them and keep them self-sustained and start the trip with ice and use that for the first 3 or 4 days, and then switch over to the frozen food and thaw that out and have a really good quality food. I like good quality food. You can get a more expensive Yeti. There's a couple of different makers that are making very high-priced coolers. They have about an inch of 1 or 2 inches of foam in the walls. It's a lot of money to spend for foam. Those coolers go for about $350 in this size, like a Yeti 450. That's a lot of money. You may get an extra day or 2 or a couple of days out of them. Some people claim they can get 7 days out of them. If that fits your model, go for it. You know, this is just what I wanted. You have a lot of options. You can go with a cheap cooler, $20, a lot of bang for the buck, especially if you can make your own ice. That makes a lot of sense. Go for a Yeti, $250 to $350, $250 to $350, and same size. And you can go with this Dometic, which was $550. Engel makes one this size, and I forget the other company. They're very popular too. Anyway, so you know, you have a lot of choices to go for your need. You know, see what fits you. It's my first trip of the season. It's quite cold. I picked up a refrigerator, and it runs on 12 volt. Oh, it's running now. Good. It runs on 12 volt and AC. One of the questions is, when you get a refrigerator, how much energy is it going to use, and am I going to be able to support this thing? In a campground, no problem. You just plug it into AC. It has a dual input, AC and DC. When you plug in AC, it automatically switches over to AC. That's the preferred mode. And if you turn off the AC, it'll switch to DC. Vistabule has given me a 115 amp hour battery. And the question in my mind was, is this going to be enough for sustained off-grid use? I'm going away this summer for a couple of 10-day trips, And I like the refrigerator already. I want to have refrigerated food, which gives me fresh food. No ice, don't have to worry about that, don't have to restock it, replenish it. So, is it enough? This is not a good weekend to totally tell, to be absolutely sure, because it's cold. It's going to go up to the 40s today. But I've been testing all winter at home using a 12-volt battery in my living room, which is 65 degrees, not 90 degrees, 65 degrees. And I have some measurements which I think are valid. I found that when if you check the rating of the refrigerator, it's going to tell you that it draws 4 amps. Well, that's not the whole story, because as there's a duty cycle, which is how long the refrigerator is running, and that's important. I found in one case when I was testing, the refrigerator would run for 8 minutes and shut off for several minutes and then turn on again. Out of an hour, it ran 24 minutes, which is on a cool down phase. I had put in room temperature water, and the refrigerator would quickly chill in 8 minutes, and then it would turn off, and I guess the water absorbs that heat as it cools down. So what I thought I would do was chill the water down to 39 degrees to simulate going to a store, buying some food, driving back to camp and putting it in here. It wouldn't be 33 degrees, it would be maybe 39, 40 degrees. I put that in and turn this on, and I let it run, and I have a meter which gives me cumulative amperage total. That factors in the duty cycle, it averages it out. What I found, to make this short, was it drew an average of 0.95 amps an hour as it was cooling down the food from 39, in my case 2.5 gallons of water for the test. Cool down 39 degree water to 33 degrees at about 1 degree an hour. It cooled it, and it only took 0.95 amps an hour. That's pretty good. Then, after the food was chilled, or the water, 2.5 gallons of water were chilled to 33 degrees, I let it run, and it consumed 0.65 amps an hour, which is really low. You average those two out, and you multiply them by 24, and I came up with that this refrigerator at 65 degrees would draw about 12 amps a day. So that's pretty good. That's excellent. It's not 90 degrees yet. I don't have, if somebody wants to pay my way to a warm climate, I'll be happy to do some more testing. So more later this summer. But so far it looks pretty promising. And so electricity is like money. If your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep will be your downfall. So I need at least 12 amps at 65 degrees to chill for 24 hours. And less than that, if it's the second day out and the food is cold, well, I'm going to be even better off. It'll use even less energy. So let's take a look at this. It's running right now. It's 33 degrees. I set it for 33. It'll drop down to about 27, then turn off and drift back up. Over here inside this area, a little shelf stays about 40-45 degrees. I think it's 40 degrees, maybe sometimes in the high 30s. Here's the main compartment. It has a basket you can pull out. It has a divider for the basket. Not much in here right now. And I bought pizza dough from Whole Foods, multigrain pizza dough, and I rolled it out. I have a small I have a chapati rolling pin I ordered from India. I rolled it out, and what I used to roll it out, I could have used this glass top, but I was afraid of making a mess. So what I did was I used the Vistabule built-in cutting board, and I was able to roll it out on that, and I had extra work surface here with the other cutting board. Windy out, so I put up a windscreen, and I am making a fresh pizza. It's almost done, but it works good. There's a little light over here, which is helpful. So overall, it's been pretty good. Nice lid. The Dometic is pretty nice. It's running now. You can't hear it. It's extremely quiet. And the generator end, I got this tripod out, so it's a little shaky. Okay, here's the solar farm. It's a nice day. I have 2 panels. My friend Julie alerted me to make a frame for them, which I have not done yet. So I'm using a couple of sticks to hold these up. She used some PVC piping to make a frame, which is very nice. So these are 100-watt panels, 100 watts each. I can generate 200 watts. You divide watts by volts and you get amps. So I can turn out about 5 amps for each panel. That's 10 amps total. If I need 12 amps for the refrigerator, well, I've got a lot of spare capacity here, and that's intended. On a cloudy day, or a cloudy day under trees, I'm not going to get 10 amps an hour out of these. I may get 2 amps or 5 amps. It depends. I need a little more study. I've never had a problem with energy, but now with the refrigerator, I'm more concerned. So, but I think it's going to be good. All of my number crunching shows I'll be fine. Here comes some sun, so I'm really putting out a lot of energy right now. The battery's about topped off. It's 10:30. I think it was topped off at about 9. It's just so since the battery's topped off, right? I'm using 12 amps a day for the refrigerator. Since the battery's topped off, as long as the sun's shining, I'm not really draining the battery. The solar panels are exceeding the output that I need today. So rather than 12 amps, I'll probably just need from, say, 5 p.m. till sunrise. And I'll have, that's that much less energy that I'm using off the battery. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Stumbling. So here's the trailer, and I'm doing a little experiment here. I have a black bucket, and what I want to see if I can do is I want to heat this water up, and I want to use it as a shower. So more on that later. These are 2 inverters that I'm testing. This one is a pure sine 300 watt inverter. This is a modified sine 150 watt inverter. You have to check your appliance for what it uses before you plug it into this. If it draws more than 150 watts, you could either burn it up, blow a fuse, or make it useless. 300 watts you have to hook directly to a battery. You'll notice there's a cigarette lighter hookup on this one now, and that's because I would only use a lower wattage, like 150 watts device. So this weekend I used it to power a water pick, an electric shaver. You know, if your camping partner brought a Hitachi magic wand, you know, this might be a good way to plug it in, unlimited energy. They're handy to have around. I like this little one. It's very useful. So if you have any AC appliances like a laptop or something you want to plug in here, do your research. Some people say you can't plug a laptop into this one. I've had no problem with it. Some people say you have to use this one for a laptop. If you have an oscilloscope or something like that, well, then you're definitely going to need a pure sine. Anything that has a timing circuit in it, that depends on a timing circuit, needs pure sine. Otherwise, you can use modified sine for a lot of things. When you factor up your energy needs, I talked about the refrigerator. My guesstimate at this point is that it's going to draw 12 amps a day. Again, I'm not in 100-degree weather, so I can't say for certain, but it seems to be cooling very well. That's the refrigerator. You've got the trailer too. The trailer uses minimal electricity. These outside lights draw about 200 milliamps, 225 milliamps. They're very highly efficient LED lights. The inside light, this draws, I think, 3 or 350. These little ones, which I use all the time, they only draw 100 milliamps, actually less than that, 90 milliamps. They're really great. So you double all this up. The radio draws 250 milliamps, the stereo. I charge a lot of things. I charge my MP3 player. I'm charging the camera battery now. This camera's gobbling up batteries. Tablets, telephones, all sorts of stuff. I also charge, I carry Eneloop AA batteries. I charge those. We have these lights back here. These are 250 milliamps each. That's a half an amp. So you can add all this up. Right now, I am charging an MP3 player back here. I have a USB. Everything I buy is 12 volt, where possible, USB, so I can use a converter for 12 volt. Even my battery chargers do that, or that. Pretty much everything I buy, I try and run on 12 volt. So you add up everything that the trailer uses for a day. What I came up with, my calculation, and this is way over the top with everything turned on a lot, with the lighting on more than necessary. I came up with 6 amps a day. So that's not a lot. That's nothing. That's just to run the lighting, you know, the electrical needs that I use other than the refrigerator. That's everything. So it's highly efficient. I mean, it really does work great. So my solar panels are overkill for that. With 200 watts, 100 watts for each panel, that's way more than I need. Why? Why did I go that route? Well, one, I was thinking about the refrigerator for a while, so I doubled up I had one which was plenty for just a trailer, but I knew I was going to get the refrigerator at some point, so I doubled that up in advance to cushion the expenditure. But it's a sunny day now. It's way overkill. If I take the 6 amps that the trailer uses plus the 12 amps that the refrigerator uses, that's 18 amps. I'm putting out 10 amps an hour. I can get that much quicker. You know, in a couple of hours I could have the trailer fully charged and ready to go for the rest of the day. From then on, energy that I use to charge things is coming mostly out of the solar panels and just topping off the battery. But at sunset, I start dipping into the battery. This battery is 115 amp hour. It's my experience that it's an AGM battery, very nice. My experience is out of 115 amps, you'll only get about half of that. After that, the voltage drops so low, even though this is a deep cycle battery, deep discharge for RVs, once the voltage drops below 10, you're really going to hurt your battery, or you're going to shorten the life. You won't get as many recharges out of it. So the conventional wisdom of battery people is take it down to about 11.5 to 10.5 volts and then recharge the battery. So the measurements, I have the charts for the battery, it shows that you'll only get about half the amperage out of the rated 115. So for my calculations, and you may calculate differently, I say I'll get 50 amps out of that battery. And if I'm using 18 amps a day, I can go a couple of days without recharging at all. Now, on a cloudy day, or a cloudy day under trees, there's no leaves out right now in this beautiful spot that I'm in. I just needed a weekend to get away and get my head together again. Okay, so it's a cloudy day. I may not put out 10 amps. I may only put out 5 amps or even 2 amps if it's really bad. Up in Bar Harbor, it was pretty cloudy. Stormy all the time. So my point is I needed spare capacity, and that's why I have these. Is it enough? I'm guessing from my current use and my first trip out with the refrigerator is that it will be enough, but I need a little bit more time to tell. But all the numbers indicate that I'm on track for having adequate energy. And if worse came to worse, I could throw out another solar panel and have that contribute to the farm. These are expensive solar panels. The reason is they're flexible, too flexible. They're very thin. I didn't want to have the bulk of a large solar panel, so let me raise this up. I had to actually put little pieces of wood in the back to get them to be rigid enough to stand up, and in the heat the plastic can melt and the panel becomes too flexible. So I usually lay these on top of the trailer, and that's adequate positioning, and I may put them up there soon. The sun's pretty high in the sky. But Julie convinced me that I should have a stand and try it out, and it does seem more efficient at certain times of the day. So there you go. So again, this is where the solar panel connects to the trailer with the ZAMP connector. I purchased, this one goes into a 2 split, so I have 2 solar panels feeding into this right here. What I also have is a 1 feed, it feeds in, and this one allows for 4 panels. I could hook up 4 panels to this. Now that's limited by how much you don't just go out and buy these and plug them in and throw on a lot of solar panels. My controller can handle 14 amps. I have 2 5-amp panels now, that's 10. So 2 of these would be taken up. I could add a third one, I could add a 4-amp panel to take me to the limit. And so I could have a total of 14 amps, which is what my controller can take. If you had a bigger controller, you could take more, but you have to figure out if your battery can handle that much juice coming into it at once. There are formulas for all this you can find, but I just wanted to show how it's working. And again, down here is the AC hookup for when I'm in a campground. I can plug into AC power. What we're looking at is my voltage meter in the trailer, in the galley. And what this is showing is the voltage of the battery is typically 12.5 when there's nothing connected to it and it's just sitting there. What we're seeing here is the refrigerator is running and is drawing energy out of the battery. But when the charge controller detects the battery is below 13.4, it looks like, it turns on the power to the battery, 13.32. When it goes down to that low, it turns on the solar panels, and they bring it up to about 14.8. Let's see, here it goes. There it goes, up to 14.9. It brought up to 14.9 volts, then it shut off. This is normal operation. What it's indicating to me is that the battery is totally charged, and as the voltage drops to the minimum float charge, 13.3, it turns on the solar panel. So in full sunlight with the refrigerator running, I'm keeping up. The solar panels are generating excess energy, which I could use. I'm running the radio, I charge other things. So my feeling is by the time the sun gets out of range of the solar panels, by the time the sun moves across the sky and the panels can't charge effectively anymore, I'll be going into the evening with a fully charged battery, which is where I want to be. It was a cold night last night. I used a Mr. Buddy heater, propane heater, to see what it was like. I have a Mr. Buddy heater here. That has been going. I turn it on for like 5 or 10 minutes. I make sure I ventilate well. And it gives radiant heat. Heats this trailer up to pretty warm, 60, 70 degrees in a few minutes. Boy, does it make it comfortable. It raised the temperature in that small space in the trailer very quickly. I would run it for like 10 minutes and then turn it off for 45 minutes, and it was just running perfectly, the Mr. Buddy. I only brought a small tank of fuel. It was half empty, and I ran out of fuel last night. Not a problem. I had a good sleeping bag. But well, of course, when you run a propane heater, you want to make sure you're ventilated. The Vistabule, bless their heart, put on these little ports you can open up. There's one on each side. They're down low, so you can get low bottom ventilation. Comes in the bottom just like a teepee. It rises up and it comes out of the roof vent. This vent is designed not to let rain in, which it does 99.9% of the time. It works great. So this is a proven design. You know, it's bottom to top airflow. Teepees, yurts, you know, shelters people have been sleeping in for thousands of years use that sort of airflow, and this modern design factors that in, which I love. All my tents have roof vents, which I love. Okay, so the heat is good. I know Vistabule makes a heating system, which is quite impressive. It's not cheap, but boy is it impressive. I'm tempted to get it. Of course, it would use a lot more fuel, if that's a concern. But Mr. Buddy's fine for what I'm doing right now. And and it's getting me through. But maybe someday, when the budget allows, I will get the Vistabule built-in forced hot air heating system, which is I have a little clip on that. If I find it, I'll show it.
This one has an air conditioner, and it has a furnace as well. The furnace sits underneath here, and the heat comes out these holes here.
A propane furnace?
Propane furnace, and this is the thermostat for that.
Wow. It's electric?
The furnace works off of the battery. This is our heat source furnace, which is called a Pro-X. Very efficient propane furnace, very small. Fits down underneath the air conditioning compartment. Down on here. And the heat comes up.
Is it internal to the trailer or external when it's down there? Is that how it would be?
It's down, yeah, right there. It's underneath the shelf. You don't see it. The exhaust goes outside, and the combustion air comes from the outside.
And the air finds its way out of this register?
The hot air comes up through the pipe and comes out through this.
Both of those.
Yeah.
Very good. And I imagine that's pretty efficient for a small area like this, right?
It's very efficient.
Yeah.
It gets very warm very quickly, and but you can adjust it so it doesn't get too warm.
Is that a wireless thermostat?
No,
or is it
it's
wired
not.
in?
It's wired in.
Very good.
And it's a 12-volt system.
Well, when I was shopping for my trailer, one of the biggest questions I had is, what is it like in here? And this is the inside. Here is some stuff piled up, a pillow and a sleeping bag. The headboard's behind it. I have a Mr. Buddy heater here. That has been going. I turn it on for like 5 or 10 minutes. I make sure I ventilate well. And it gives radiant heat. Heats this trailer up to pretty warm. 60, 70 degrees in a few minutes. Here's the front of the trailer. Let me get more lighting. There we go. Okay, so here's the front. My feet. I'm on a queen-size bed. Night table. I have another night table over here I could use if I want to deploy it. It's pretty handy. I have the stabilization legs down. They help prevent shake in the trailer. If I had liquid in there, it might spill. Okay, well, that's the inside. I have the front window down. It's a cloudy night. No stargazing tonight. Maybe tomorrow night. It's supposed to be a nice day. New for this trip is a new addition. That's the tongue box up in front. No longer available, but it could be any dark space in the trailer. What I put in here was a motion sensor light. So when I open the door, the light will go on. There it is. It's a little motion sensor light. It runs on 4 AAA batteries, and it illuminates us. You know, when you're in this trailer, everything's within reach, and soon you start, you know, griping about, I have to grab a flashlight to see what's in there, and this solved that problem pretty well. So it stays lit for 10 seconds after motion. I have a bunch of them. I'm going to experiment with more tomorrow night. Maybe on the outside of the trailer. Okay, here's a 360 of the interior. Okay, and I can put the motion sensor lights down in these lower cabinets down here across the bottom. I'm just looking for a good place to put it. And the one that I have is a incandescent light color, which is really friendly and nice. Much nicer than the blue lights for my taste. I don't need them in the upper cabinets where I have the stereo. I can see up there pretty well. I don't need them on the pass-through. But down the bottom, where I store things, I'm going to consider putting in these motion lights. I brought a bunch of them with me. And I may put one in the galley too. So when I open the galley hatch, the light just goes on. They're mounted on, you know, you stick a magnetic strip to the wall, or to the surface, and then the motion sensor light attaches to that, so you can remove it to change the batteries. So it's a very nice little device. More on that later. Hello. I'm back at Stoke State Forest. I've been here all day. It's Friday, April 7th, and I played hooky from work and came out. I had a very rigid schedule at work for months, and this is a good chance to get away. So I thought I would, sure the lighting's a little bit rough, but I thought I would just talk about the interior space. You buy a Teardrop trailer and you know it's going to be a bit small compared to some of the other offerings out there, but it depends how you look at it. This is a queen size mattress. If you're comfortable with a queen size mattress and a lot of headroom, I'm 5 foot 10 inches and I have about, I would say, 9 to 12 inches above my head. If you are comfortable with that space, then you'd probably be comfortable here. I can spread out sideways. If there were two of us, which there are a lot of times, they could oppose me or be next to me, and we'd have a lot of room. It's a cold night tonight, and the reason I'm in a shirt, it snowed earlier, we had snow flurries, is because I have a Mr. Buddy heater. And this is talked about in a lot of camping forums, trailer forums. I'm going to light it. When you light it, it powers up, and then it starts, oh, it went out. If you tilt this at all, it will go out. I might be almost out of fuel. I think I'm out of fuel. Okay, well that takes care of that. No more heat tonight. The reason I'm in a shirt is because this thing has been heating up the trailer, and it's been working quite well. And I had a refillable fuel bottle which I purchased, and you can refill almost any fuel bottle for these things. And next time I'll bring two. This one was a half empty when I brought it here, but it's just so comfortable with this heater. I mean, I'm really impressed. It's I think it was $60 or $70. I watched it on Amazon. Obviously in the summer they're cheaper than they are in the winter. So if you go to camel.com and put a watch on this, it'll alert you when the price drops. So it works pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Now, when you use something like that, you got to use your head because you could quickly asphyxiate. It has an oxygen sensor in it, but do you really want to trust your life to an oxygen sensor? I don't think so. So I open the roof, which I'm going to close now. I open the fan vent. I open the Vistabule has two ventilation ports on the side. They're lower down, which I like. And I open those up, I crack them so I get a flow-through ventilation, and I don't have to rely on the oxygen sensor to protect me. But anyway, the interior living is pretty good. I've got these tables. It's very cozy, which is a good thumbs up. Curtains on the windows. Front window has a big shade on it, which is closed. I can close off the window to the rear. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have windows on all four sides. There's a huge picture window in the front. The two side windows for the main windows. There's the two portholes, which I have closed off now, and the curtains drawn. These have porthole covers, and the window in the back. So the first thing I do when I get up, I'm closing this because you can feel the drafts coming in if you don't close them. The first thing I do when I get up is I look out of these windows and see what's out there. That's kind of why I'm camping. I don't like reality TV, I like reality. So, get in a queen size bed. If you're comfortable on that, you'll be comfortable in here. There's plenty of headroom. It's a very spacious feel because of the headroom. If you've been in a dome tent and you like the feel of a dome tent, you'd probably like the feel of this. The colors are nice. They're wood tone, beige, light wood tone, as opposed to dark wood tone. One trailer maker is using mahogany. Can you believe it? I mean, in this day and age, they're using an endangered wood. But this one is Baltic birch. It's a nice bright color, which is easy to handle, easy on the eyes. Very nice with incandescent, you know, like 3,000 degree temp, or 6,000 degree, I forget what this is. The color temperature, it's pretty good. Unfortunately, the lighting is behind me, so you really can't see me too well, which is okay. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm using a wide-angle lens to try and capture some of this, but it's really good to be out camping again. You're not likely to get this at a hotel. I don't care how much it costs. This is just down the trail from where where I'm camping. I brought a little chair with me. I think I'll just hang out. There's a pileated woodpecker back there. I'm waiting for him to show himself. There's something to be said for just hanging around. The new kitchen is really working out well, and there's two things I always forget to show. One of the things Vistabule provided me was a breadboard. So if you need more space, I made a pizza last night. I bought dough. What I used to roll it out, I could have used this glass top, but I was afraid of making a mess. So what I did was I used the Vistabule built-in cutting board, and I was able to roll it out on that, and I had extra work surface here with the other cutting board. Now, on the wish list is for me to put a groove around this, so when you're cutting something like a tomato, if the juice runs, it'll go into the groove. I haven't had any problems yet, but I don't know. You know, when you're sitting at work looking at your computer screen, you dream up this stuff that you must have. So the other addition I've made was this silicone mat. Now, before the silicone mat, I was using these. As you know, I love these things, and I would put these out, and when I had a hot lid from the stove, I would put it on here, and these little things would catch it, you know, and catch the liquid or whatever, and I was using these a lot, but I've since improved on that. I've got these, and I still carry these, as you can see, but it's back. What I have is this now, a silicone mat, and the silicone mat is checkered on one side and it has like a pyramid shape on the other side. You can pick the side you like. I use this indentation because now I can put lids on here and hot things on here, and they will not run all over the place, and I can just shake it. This is good for like 700 degrees. You can bake on this. Not that I'm doing that, but you can bake on this. You know, for $12 or whatever it costs, it's good for me. And you can roll this up, and I need two hands. So you can roll this up, and it will stay rolled, and you can stash it somewhere. So I love this thing. It's good for my countertop. It really works for me. So by using this mat, I have been able to reduce how many of these trivet and pot holders I use from a dozen down to 12. But I can use less of these and more of this because now I'll just be using these as trivets and pot holders, and I can reduce down the amount instead of using it as a surface cover. I'll just show where these stash. This is the main cutting board. That goes into slots on this side. You can use it out here if you choose. Slides in there. And the sink cutting board, I always forget to use this, and it really is so nice. I should use it more. I made a little hook in here where I can slide it in, and it'll stay there while I'm driving. It doesn't rattle out or anything. Things do bounce around quite a bit back here, so you need to make sure you stow everything securely. And that's it for the cutting boards. One of the advantages for me is I can pack this up, have it mostly ready to go, and just throw in a few more items and take off, which is good for me. I used to go on Friday nights, have a backpack ready to go, and I go to a local park, hike in the dark, and camp out there. Whole different experience. There would be just me and a friend, and it would be beautiful. You know, I still plan on doing that. I just can't do it right now with my current job. So this kind of gives me a real nice, comfortable night's sleep. This mattress is a IKEA futon mattress, and it's very comfortable. You know, and I have the couch. This Teardrop trailer was a completely different experience from the other Teardrop trailers that I sat in the sense that I want to be connected with the outside, and this trailer connects me with the outside. It's, I don't know how to say it, it's not an item you camp in, it is the camp. And with the open doors, you open these huge doors, you're not inside, you're as much outside as you are inside. You close them, and it's nice at night. You can close the doors and lock them. I have to get the female perspective on this when I'm camping. I need some women to give their view. 80% of my viewers are men, and I would love to get more female input. The input I've gotten is really good. When I suggest tent camping now, they're like, well, let's take the Vistabule out. It's a lot more, you know, comfortable and relaxing. It's a relaxing weekend as opposed to a complete outdoor immersion experience like backpacking. So let's talk about money and the finances. I've said before this is cost effective for me, and I wanted to quantify that. So on a recent trip in October, I had to go out to Minnesota for a family affair, and I drove out. And since Vistabule is in St. Paul, I took the trailer, and I wanted them to make some customizations for me, which they did. So on the way out there, that's a 1,200-mile drive, I had to stop for a night. It's a 2-day drive for me, and I would have been going to a hotel. The hotel would have been anywhere between $70 and $140 a night. Instead, I did blacktop camping. I went to a beautiful rest stop in Ohio, which had a separate area for RVs, and I parked there. I just pulled in, jumped in the back with the Vistabule, pulled down the curtains, listened to some music, and camped out there. There was a bunch of other RVs there. This is in November. I'm sure in the summer you can't even get in there. But I had a great time. And next morning I jumped out and took off. So that's typical for my travel. On the way back, I stayed at a Flying J truck stop. I actually pulled out of there because I wasn't too pleased with the experience of having diesel motors run and exhaust all night. And you know, the people were very pleasant, very nice, and the facilities were good. But if you want to take a shower or something, but it just wasn't my way. But so I saved on the road, and I think that's going to be a model going forward where possible. I don't want to live in this thing. I'm not opposed to hotels, but when I got to Minnesota, we stayed at a beautiful hotel. It was $140 a night, and it was your typical hotel room. Okay, it's a Best Western. And the view out the window. It's hard to see, but it's a parking lot. The windows don't open. Much like all the other hotel rooms, it doesn't provide this. It doesn't provide a sky overhead. It doesn't provide dirt under your feet, which I like, and trees and wildlife and everything else around you. So, you know my feelings on that. So, I ran that out. Typically, there's the solar bucket heating. Typically, I've got 52 nights. This weekend it'll be 54, but 52 nights, I use that as an example, at $140 a night in a hotel, and there's tax on top of that. There's like $15 tax on top of that. I crunched the numbers, I come up with $7,280 to do 52 nights in a hotel. Now you can go on the lower end, you can get a $70 a night room for 52 nights. That'll be $3,640. Now the lower end and the higher end have a lot in common except for the lighting and the carpeting. You know, the lighting is dim in all these rooms, but make it nicer carpeting, a nicer, seemingly nicer experience on a more expensive hotel, but you don't get this. Okay, you don't get what I've got here. You don't get the beauty of nature, which is what I want. They're sort of like second fiddle to this. Now, camping here on this spot, I'll use this as an example. Oh wait, if you average the $140 a night and the $70 a night, you put them together and average them, that comes out to $105 a night plus tax. And let me tell you, hotel taxes are stiff. They're steep. They're expensive. That comes out to $5,460 for 52 nights. Now, I'll contrast that with a campground like where I am. I'm in New Jersey. I'm a New Jersey resident. I have a senior card. I have the official geezer card, and I get about $2 or $3 off the bill. But to stay here for 3 days, 2 nights, cost me $41. That's $20.50 a night. So that's pretty damn good. So if I do that calculation, it comes out to $1,066 for 52 nights, as opposed to $7,280 for a $140 a room night. Now, some campgrounds are $35 a night. That would be $1,820 for 52 nights. Some campgrounds, when we were up in Bar Harbor, it was more expensive. It was like $60 a night. But we're right in the ocean. You know, I didn't mind. And frankly, I don't care about that air conditioning and all the other stuff. I really care about getting out here. This makes me feel good. When I'm in a hotel, I feel more like I'm home. There's not this experience. I don't know how to... It's more of an experience out here. So, I can afford... What I'm really after is, in retirement, to be able to do more with less money and have a really good time. And I do want to travel. You do spend a little more on gasoline when you tow the trailer. We get 30 miles to the gallon with this car, not towing, and I get between 20 and 25 when I'm towing. So there is a slight uptick, but you get some other advantages. I've got my kitchen and my refrigerator with me, and I can save. I can make oatmeal, eggs for breakfast for $5. Or I can have breakfast out for $10. I can make lunch here for $5, or I can have lunch out for $10. And dinner, around here, dinner starts at $25, and I can make it myself for $10. So that's for one. So I certainly go to hotels, I go to restaurants, I go eat out a lot, but I can do more with the same money with this trailer. I don't know if that's justification for everyone, but it is for me. And it allows me to just have a good time, a low impact good time. So crunch your own numbers, see what works for you. I mean, before this, like I said, I've used a tent, and I'm very happy with the tent. I still use a tent now and then, and that's as cheap as you can go. I didn't start at the top and work my way up, believe me. I save long and hard for what I've got. So, there's some numbers. Use them to your advantage. I did have an idea though. I'm going to talk to my accountant and see if I can get a tax deduction on a trailer. I do charitable work. On the weekends, sometimes I volunteer at the Nymphomania Treatment Center, and I take the girls out for weekends. Even though it's a small trailer, I can fit like 4 of them in there, and me. It's 5 of us, and I teach them survival skills, like how to hydrate on only champagne, and what to do if your leader forgets the sleeping bags, and you all have to keep warm under a space blanket. How to generate body heat. So maybe I can get a tax deduction on this.